Hi, guys. Hopefully, all right. Thank you. Can we get rid of the music now? Oh my goodness. Okay, that's why it's reverbing. I have everything on my. Gosh. Okay. Sorry, I'm running late. Everybody, StreamYard has done something very odd today. They obviously got very unhappy because it used to be I could get 20 hours a month of free like streaming, which I can do, but they would let me like run video like Judge Joe Brown. And now they want me to pay for it, and it's ridiculous. Their service is stupid expensive. So I'm sorry, guys. I'd rather spend $50 a month on my new companion Roscoe than spend $50 a month. So I can't even show my fair use statement. So I'm just going to state my fair use statement. I'm just going to read it out right now because I got to read this thing out, guys. So just bear with me. Good morning, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your patience. Yeah. What a rough start. I tell you, these companies, it used to be I could do StreamYard for like, oh my God, like $10 a month. And it just meant that I could do some basic stuff and had some limitations on the streaming time or something. And then they want just ridiculous sums of money. I'm not giving $500 a year on a channel. I'm so sorry that barely, makes that type of money just to stream, because you would literally be giving all your money away as a content creator to these companies. And I think that's just, I think we're giving enough of the house away to some of these places. So YouTube already gets 30% of everything. So, and then, sorry about that. The people that were helping me get my breakfast were also running late this morning, but I do not blame them. And obviously I was out taking my new dog out with Junebug for a walk. So if you guys could like the stream, get it up the algorithm. If nobody is aware, or some of you may be aware, I recently, as of yesterday, adopted a dog from a local shelter. I believe that he had been, up to my adopting him yesterday, the dog that had been the longest in the shelter in my local city. I almost feel like, and this would be sad, okay, and it's hard for me to share pictures of Roscoe other than like the one laying on his back and stuff, because he is skin and bones at this time. He was sitting at the back of the shelter. I think he's been there for years, actually. They tried to say months, but I want to say I've seen the picture of this dog on the website for this local shelter for an extended period of time, because I'm always kind of was looking at different dogs and so forth. And I don't want to, I almost feel like Junebug knew the dog already, which is heartbreaking because I've had her for almost 4 years. And he is skin and bones. He is. Oh, thank you. Thank you. He had a limp, and I guess because of that, when people would see him come out with a limp, nobody wanted him. And he is such a good dog, and he's not messed up once in the house. Thank you, Chuck, for that. By the way, I don't mean to cry. He's not messed up once. He is just acting so good, like he's just laying on the rug at the moment. I was so happy. And so you guys just watching the stream this morning, liking, comments, subscribing, being members of the community, it does go to my sort of personal mission, which is, rescuing these unwanted pit bulls from local shelters. And I can't but take so many. I lost a bid for a house yesterday. So I was trying to get a house that had a yard and everything for the dogs. Yeah, Tim, I've got pre-approval for my mortgage. I didn't have to walk in with a 100K YouTube plaque, surprisingly. And you're going to find it very difficult. So unless you have absolutely every penny to put down on a home, to buy a home, because you have no real employment history, Tim. And a YouTube plaque is not going to be considered employment history. So Tim, that you're really in a place where you will never be a homeowner because you are 67 years old and you dropped out of the workforce at 62, and your business has not got any type of license that can be found. And so I don't think you were doing things on the up and up. And it can be difficult for self-employed people sometimes to get these. You have to have your business really in good stead. And so good luck, Tim. You want to talk about people getting in their prison jobs. The reason why you're so envious that we have prison jobs, Mr. Baker, is because of the fact that we can actually get a mortgage pre-approvals. So that's why I was disappeared for a couple of days, as I went to see this property. And it was funny because we saw it in the rain, so we kind of saw it in the good time and stuff. We put a bid in, and my agent had said that he was unaware that they were bidding for other properties. Anyway, we didn't get the house, but after we went to see the home, I was obviously considering getting a friend for Junebug. I introduced the one dog. It was not a good fit. And so we introduced her this other dog, and she seemed to really like him. And he, like I said, he is skin and bones. He is going to have extensive dental work. His teeth are in really, really bad health. And I kind of have him, and he's so thin, and luckily, and he's got this limp. So I've started him on the glucosamine on a loading dose already. He weighs probably a fraction. I'm telling you, this dog was so long in the pound that he was diagnosed with what is known as FAS, fear, anxiety, stress. He is very food centered at the moment. I have to be very careful because he is so thin. I do not want to overfeed him and get him sick. So I am just doing, his basic meals, but I do have a special diet that he's taking, just that I selected with the little organic pet food store up the road. That's like a oatmeal that's got I think pork in it. And we're adding water because his teeth and so we're obviously, he was neglected. He was absolutely neglected. Absolutely. And nobody was going to take him from the pound. Nobody. He has been the dog. He was the longest in the shelter. Yeah. It was so sweet today because he was so good. He got in the car last night without a problem. He's, like I said, he's not had one puppy accident in the house. He waits to go outside and do his little good boy. Junebug's up on the couch. The both of them were up on the couch snuggling me last night. He is already just a sweetheart. I obviously just kept him in the crate last night. I do have to kind of watch his energy exertion because obviously he is so thin. You do have to make sure that if you're trying to obviously get a dog to gain weight, you don't want to be putting out all this energy. And so he does have to have times where he's calm and he's quiet. Luckily, like I said, he did come with some trazodone, and I am using that really to help more. Not that I think he's stressed out here, but more just because he does have this limp on the front leg, and I think he actually probably came to the shelter that way. Because I saw his picture and he had his little paw up. Anyway, I don't want to lose people because I'm talking about my dogs, and they're here to see Tim. Yeah, the house wasn't meant to be. Oh, we're not worried about the house. Yeah, we're not worried. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cry. I don't want to lose people. Let's just get to Tim because everyone's here just to talk about Tim this morning. Not to hear my dog. If you do want to hear more about Roscoe and see more videos of Roscoe, though, join the Good Life community because that's where I will be sharing that. Not really so much on the channel. Obviously, we're not a dog channel. I'm just obviously filling you guys in as to where I have been for the last few days. Okay. So that's it. And nobody wants to see a girl cry, especially about her dog. And he is in a good place. It just breaks my heart because people always are talking about wanting to, be good to animals and help animals. And then this dog was probably the most needed animal in the shelter and had been left the longest amount of time. And so that can be really difficult to see. All right. Fair use. Everything I do is just my opinion and my opinion only. This is going to be for education and entertainment purposes. And it's all under fair use. All right, Tim. And if you have problems with that, you know, my attorney will send you a letter, mate. Tim has been coming out. So I guess why I've been thinking so hard about my own diet, and I thank you, everybody who is here today. I said it's a grad school fundraiser. It's not really. It's a fundraiser for Roscoe now. I just mean that, you know, so different people do different things with their channel. And Tim's going to be talking about what he does for his channel and what he does with his money. And I can tell you what I do with everything I make from my channel, which is either raise money for charity, which on the 21st, which is a Monday, we're going to be sending that $700 to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. That was $700 raised by this awesome community here for that in honor of Bev Bianco. We also are trying to highlight out in the community that there is this old YouTuber out there called Sarasota Tim, who is an absolutely flip-flopping, uneducated scam artist who is just going to get onto whatever he sees as a trending topic and start making some content around it with absolutely no disclaimers. I would like to say, if you find anything about people having restrictive eating, having any type of disordered eating, any type of just like issues around diet, anything around that, I would click the heck out of this video because this guy has no understanding of anything about how the human body works, how he could potentially trigger people when it comes to eating, restrictive eating, and just talking absolute utter nonsense. He has no idea how blood sugar works in the body. He has no idea what sugar can do for the body. I just heard him confess that he probably was drinking these sugary tea drinks, probably huge Arizona teas. So why would you listen to somebody who has no trained professionalism in healthcare? I mean, seriously, is this what we do? Is that we have reached a place where we demonize actual people who spend time and effort to study and read research? These are actual evidence-based practice with thousands of people in controlled studies. Or you're just going to listen to some garbage with some dude who talks about dropping butter into gosh darn coffee to satiate his diet when he obviously, because now he's adding vegetables. So one day he's an effing carnivore, and then the other day, sorry, I don't mean to cuss on a Saturday morning. Then the other day, he's like adding vegetables back in. You know why? Because he probably got his blood work back, and he probably got the fright of his life. And so this is not somebody that anybody should be listening. Sarasota who? Sarasota dangerous as heck out there on the internet. And this is why I just cannot stand these people. I know people get upset when they're told they don't have expertise to talk about topics, but there's reasons being because half the time you don't understand the science behind how your body works. I mean, if you read half the nonsense about the leg cramps from his comment section, you would die as a medical professional. Because anything about nocturnal leg cramps, I can promise you, it's probably because he drinks coffee so dang late at night. That's what they think is probably the cause of it. I don't get that's crap. Pardon me. Need more likes. Yes, give me more likes, guys. Give me up the algorithm so people know I'm here. All right, let me show Tim. We are going to be talking. So we're going to look at the nonsense he put out this morning. I'm going to get feisty. Roscoe seems to be managing it. So he's okay. And then we're going to talk about, how, maybe in the sort of literature as it comes for us, some of the things that are dangerous about what he is talking about within diet. I know some people like, this carnivore. I'm sorry. Anytime you have any type of restrictive eating and it is not really beneficial to your health as you think, and you start talking about leg cramps at night and you have no idea what you're talking about, that is the time you have to step aside and stop talking. Because you have no idea. You just have no idea. I'm so sorry. Hi, come on in. I'm getting feisty now. All right, let's share Tim. Let's hope I can share this screen and that StreamYard isn't just getting completely wild on me. Okay. Let me see what it looks like. Yay! All right. Yeah, give us likes when you come in, guys. All right. So I have been very frustrated watching Tim's terrible dietary advice. I understand, whenever you are chasing diet and it's only at your root cause is your weight and an aesthetic, then already you're on the wrong path, in my opinion, as a healthcare provider. I would never recommend, and people might say, oh, well, you're thin. That's easy to say. Yes, I guess it is, but I can promise you that thin is not the body type of the females in my family. So it's not like I was gifted thinness. I just happen to understand the relationship between unhealthy foods and foods that would actually provide real nutrition for my body from a very early age. That was that. And I did, I guess you could say in some ways I did have something restricted because I choose not to eat meat. Now that is a lifestyle choice. And I don't tell everybody to follow what I do. I say, if you're going to have a diet, I would suggest what they call a Mediterranean style, which basically you're eating the rainbow and you are eating lean proteins. Completely the opposite from the nonsense that this crud that this guy puts out, who has no idea what he's talking about. Absolutely none. And I would argue this all day. Now, if you want to be some old cranky guy on the internet here who wants to say that I, as somebody who is a registered nurse, who has spent well over a decade in the cardiac field, who also had been a top athlete in her time and had ranked in the top 3 as a distance runner for her age group since about the age of about 11, right up until my adulthood, and probably would get back into it again. I'm talking top 3 in any race that, for my age division, for any race that I have been in. And then I'm talking distance running of half marathons. So I know a thing or two about a carbohydrate. And I know a thing or two about eating to fuel my body. And I know a thing or two about good blood pressure and heart health and everything else. And I'm not trying to be out here and all preachy preach. But for the fact that this old, cranky old dude who's got no clue what he's talking about is trying to make clicks and views and money off of his just the worst nonsense I've ever heard around health is shameful. And YouTube should be ashamed of itself. But they don't care. As long as he's getting views and clicks and people are still wasting their time watching his whatever garbage, then and they're making money, they'll still pop that stuff out the algorithm. But he has no clue. He's never going to tell you actually what his lab work was. He went to the doctors. Have you noticed that the only thing that's changed since Tim went to the doctors is he's trying to add vegetables to his diet and stuff? But we've heard nothing about what those results are already in. They showed up in his My Chart. Don't be fooled that Tim don't know what's going on. And all this weight loss stuff, whatever. Tim, when you've starved yourself for multiple days at a time, of course you're going to start to lose weight. That the nonsense is that. But that's not weight that you sustain as weight loss. Just, you're literally telling people from your channel not to eat. How disordered is your thinking? What is your problem? I have the hard enough time as it is trying to just get my older adults to understand how to eat healthfully, because they have been eating a bunch of this stofers and nonsense their whole life. You're right. And did my mother educate me? No. I mean, she a little bit. You got to get over that nonsense, especially as you become an adult. If I don't want to hear what your parents taught you and you stood there at 40-some years old, just go away. We have more access to real evidence. And Tim out there watches 3 YouTube videos with some of the worst charlatans out on the bloody internet. And he thinks he's an expert. Good Lord. A single white female pimples are a bad idea. Well, you know what's a bad idea? You not knowing what you're talking about, mate. You know what's a bad idea? A person like that coming up to me with my 2 pit bulls. You know what? I don't even like you. You're out of here. And stick that person in a timeout. I've got a dog that's like can barely lift its head over here on the floor. No way. Thank you, Victoria. I can promise you. I appreciate that. I promise you, they know who the head person is. And the other dog's an American bully. She's not even a pit bull. So you don't even know your dog breeds. Go away. The other dog's probably crossed with a lab. None of these are even purebred. If you think these are two purebred pit bulls sitting over here, then you know nothing about dogs. Promise you, I'm 5'9". I would take Tim down in like 2 seconds. Promise you, I've got bigger biceps than he does. That guy trying to show his squats. I can't, Tim. You're just out. All right, guys. I'm feisty this morning. I watched one of Tim's videos. People telling me about what type of dogs I can and cannot have and handle in my home. You understand it's the owners, don't you? That's just nonsense. Probably listening to Tim all day. Listen to Tim. All right, this is Tim's title.
Hey, good.
Tim, we're not ready for you. I haven't put you at 1.25. I promise you guys, I'll get funny. I'm feeling feisty, so we're going to get funny on this one today. Okay, so Tim's title. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Half the battle is to begin. Here's how to do it. Really, Tim? Tim? Is that right? Hi, Timmy. Hope to take some advice from a medical professional. Not a joke. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Gen X. Yeah, Sarasota. Yeah, I'm feisty today. Make sure you hit the likes when you come in. We're gonna take Sarasota Tim to task today, guys. All right, let me start all positive. Hey guys, this is Life and Vibe. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to come for you from Virginia Beach today. I tell you, we are gonna absolutely vibe it out. We're gonna have a good life. We got 2 rocking dogs here. We're living the dream. We're at the beach. We've got the pre-approval for a house. We could go up to 400K quite easily. Not a problem. Got lots of down deposit. Equity in the follow me for that type of information, guys. You can be living the life like I do. Absolutely rocking it. You're welcome. Thank you, Victoria, for that donation. That's going to Roscoe. I mean, we can all. You love my T-shirt? Absolutely, Johnny Cash. It is Folsom Prison, January 13, 1968. Yeah, absolutely. I love Johnny Cash. Thank you. Yes. You did a senior rescue doggy out of the local shelter. Yes, absolutely. And if you want to hit the likes, you're actually supporting real charity in this household, because my money from my YouTube channel goes to support my rescue and my dogs. And if you send it and watch Sarasota Tim, you're just helping this guy buy more shirts and give bad advice out to the internet. So let's make sure he can't anymore. Take it away, Tim.
Good morning, everybody. Sarasota Tim coming to you from inside the Super Crusher. That's right. I'm driving the big girl today, and I'm enjoying it. I got a big day planned. It's all about activity. Yesterday was, good, but today is I'm going to kick it up a notch. First thing we're going to do is, she don't even need it. We're going to take the Super Crusher up here to Sud Stop, take advantage of my monthly membership, of which I can go as many times as I want, every day, every week, every month, to get her washed up. So she comes out of there pretty good and dry, just a tailgate and anything else I decide to do. But it's been good since I washed it last. So we're just going to knock the dust off of it. And then we're going to head on over to McDonald's up the street and get ourselves.
Don't you just feel like this is the day that's the start of the rest of the day of your life? Or do you feel like this is Groundhog Day and that we've seen Tim driving in the car and the CC rider, probably still with a chipped windshield, on the way to McDonald's? Feeling inspired, guys? Don't you want this guy's life? Don't you want to be this man?
A senior coffee with 1 cream.
Oh.
And we're not going to eat.
Okay, because, not going to eat. Well, I guess technically once you have that cream, Tim, you have 8. Because it's going to have fats in it, and fats are food. So, no cream. Otherwise, you just broke your fat. You're not fasting. And I don't recommend fasting. I already feel that if you kind of think to yourself about what time of night that you decide that you're not going to be eating, because what happens in your body is that there is a hunger hormone that gets released called ghrelin. And that ghrelin is released 4 times primarily throughout the day, where we eat breakfast, about the time we eat lunch, about the time we eat dinner. And the other one, if you're not asleep in bed, is that midnight one. So people who leave pubs, people who are up at night and suddenly are finding themselves midnight eating, the reason is there is actually a hunger hormone that is released. What is happening most of the time, though, is that we are sleeping. And therefore, we bypass that sort of, sensation to eat from that hormone having been released. And what instead will happen when that body needs to have food is our liver releases glucose in a process known as gluconeogenesis. And this is where our livers are able to slowly release glucose throughout the day to give our body energy. If we do not have sugars in our body, then we are not able to create the proper energy for our muscles. Insulin is what's known as the key to our body cells. What insulin does is it actually kind of opens up, if you may, your cells to your body, and it allows that blood sugar to go into the cell in order for it to work, in order for it to create the correct energy, to create different muscle reactions, different functions of the body. And so we need to have all of these things. And if we don't, then obviously things aren't going to work. But we also need to have them in balance. And so, yes, if you are introducing too much sugar into your body, then obviously it's just going to have to keep getting stored in places or excreted or however it works. But Tim don't understand.
We're not going to eat today. I've decided to make my fourth day of fasting another 24 hours. So I weighed in at 198 this morning, even dressed. So I am sub 200 now with everything on. So
and that is so unhealthy. I can't imagine a more unhealthy way of looking at food and weight, and a way to get people to enter into habits of disordered eating than exactly what this gentleman is saying. Everything that he has been saying recently about everything about how he is trying to approach his diet and weight loss is so filled with misinformation. I think he's trying to figure out for his channel, what can I, hold on to that's going to be popular with the majority of my audience, because I've kind of fallen into this group of people that are carnivores, and they want me obviously to be kind of their carnivore spokesperson, I guess, in some way, and be on that diet because that's who watches me. And Tim is, and he doesn't know the word. He was trying to say that he's impressionable. He's very impressionable. I think he was trying to say that he was the one who made impressions on people. No, Tim, you are the one who follows what anybody says. You have no conviction, really. It's what, and it's going to be whatever gets you clicks and views. It's really sad. And it's going to wreak havoc on your body. You're not going to get anything done correctly at this point. I've had many a time a registered dietitian on here, and we've talked about it, how to eat, and neither of us have carried a lot of weight. We just do portion control. We don't eat a lot of snacks and cookies and stuff like that. I do eat a cake on occasion, but I know I burn through probably a lot of, I know I'm very active, but I still have to watch things. I still stop at a certain hour of the day and say, okay, that's a cutoff time for eating. If I want something sweet, I make a decision to eat fruit. It's just, I just have to know, and it is a way. And if you really are struggling, then you should take a conversation with a nutritionist, not this guy. Please don't ever listen to this guy or some people on the internet. At least I'm a healthcare professional.
Journey continues. I know a lot of you are following along and maybe been motivated to try to do some kind of health change in your own life. I know it's the best thing I've done in a long time. It's just amazing how people associate eating sugar.
You should never weigh yourself daily the way he is anyway, because you're going to fluctuate like that every day between 1 or 2 pounds. And he said he didn't eat for a couple of days. I promise you, when I got really sick last year and I was limited and I was literally living on like liquids and soups and crackers because I was on these antibiotics, I dropped a lot of weight for an already fairly thin person. I went down to really thin. And so obviously, if you're not eating, you're going to start to but you don't focus on that number. That's what I'm just talking. You shouldn't The only numbers that you should be focusing on are your blood pressure, your heart rate, and then your labs that you get from your doctor. Obviously, nobody wants to be carrying a large amount of visceral fat in the front of them, because that is a greater sign that you do have a higher risk of heart disease. It's one of the things that we do measure on people. It does give us an idea. When you look at someone's height and you measure their waist, it gives us a good indication if you are carrying enough visceral fat, abdominal fat, that you are having an increased risk for cardiovascular disease. And Tim gives himself away on occasion.
Drinking Cokes and eating cakes and pies as more satisfying than how you could be feeling, not just looking, but how you feel. And, you get so numb to this.
See, it's all about looks to Tim. It's the narcissist. And he doesn't look good. His skin looks unhealthy. He is probably dehydrated from the caffeine, which is why he poops like a rabbit. The caffeine amount that he drinks, I know I had a coffee right this minute. He said he started to bring some water, but then he talked about, the cakes and the sodas. I think these are the things that Tim probably eats off camera. And so, we don't need to be hearing about what your struggles with your diet are, Tim. If you really don't understand portion control, how to eat a healthy plate where most of it is vegetables, you talk about inflammation and stuff. I mean, you're out here eating all this cheese and I don't know what.
Spikes with the insulin and glucose that you have running through your veins, and the crashing and having to eat every couple of hours and boredom and all that. And then
if you eat to satiate, you don't have that sugar crash. I promise you, I've had sugar crashes on the floor where I have been on the floor for so long as an RN and have had such little opportunity to have a break, and have been burning up energy through not only, my brain, and moving around, that I have felt that I've not had enough blood sugar. Now, like I said, your liver will continue to release blood sugar in order to help you maintain that level of energy. But it is obviously going to decrease as you use it up. It's part of the reason why really real runners don't carb load the day before. They carb load long before that. In fact, the night before is not the night to carb load. Hydrating is done all days before, not anything the day before. I mean, you're obviously just going to eat something light, drink what you would regularly, but all that is done ahead of time, because it is going to take a while for your body to do it. It doesn't happen overnight like that. It's just, oh my gosh, he's no idea. Hearing this guy try to explain diabetes, type 2 diabetes, trying to understand blood sugar, blood glucose, has no idea what a pancreas does, has no idea probably where insulin. If you asked him directly, where does insulin come from in the body? Where is it produced? No clue. Why would anybody want to listen to this? He's just using, so dangerous just to have somebody trying to make money and clicks and trying to build a community around something that he just happenstance listened to from somebody on the internet, and he can't understand anything. He is so not able to comprehend anything. He just throws words together and hopes he sounds smarter than the next person to him who may know slightly less than him. That's all he hopes. But he doesn't fool somebody like me. I can just hit blah blah. Just
you do is you make a change one day. You you have an epiphany. It has to happen like that. You don't just do it. You don't just want to do it. You got to do it. And then when you do it, you're like, oh, where have you been all my life? What have I been missing? If I was down in the ground or working my way closer to going in the ground by killing myself by the terrible foods out there and drinking and drugging and just the way you think too, all of these things contribute to a very, very poor, healthy lifestyle.
Who in the heck is your audience, Tim? Tim is a guy who puts out Crushing It for Christ videos, and he thinks his audience is out there just living like this, like they're rock stars. like you did in your 30s and 40s, Tim, and you're probably your 50s? Until your body just couldn't hack it anymore? Oh, there's nothing worse than a reverted drinker. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they're the worst guys, I just have to say. Having worked in mental health. Oh my gosh. And he doesn't, even though he's put suntan on his skin he doesn't look as good as he thinks. Just putting a tan on and losing some weight, he's trying to show like, look at me, trying like I'm this healthy, thin, fit. No, you're not. I've seen your squats, Tim. No idea what you're doing. You just, you're making a fool of yourself. And you never took JJ up on that push-up challenge, so we know you're full of it. 500.
And I mean, I'm riding that crest of.
I take it.
That wave of, that crest on that wave, I should say. I'm lost for my words.
Right.
Just crushing it. And all I want to do is get out and do something. And I have such a list today to do. I don't know what to do first. Yeah. I do want to wash the truck. I do want to get some steps in. I have learned yesterday from someone that I feel knows what they're talking about, that all that running business isn't any good. Walk, baby. Just walk. Get out there and walk.
Running business. What running business did Tim do other than running into Dick's to buy shoes and then running in there to return them? What running do you do, Tim? Oh, I get. You want to go for a run with me, Tim? I'll take you 5 miles on the sand, mate. And I'll go a slow pace just to mess with you. Tim. Oh, yeah. My other title was Cannot Stick with Anything. Tim can't stick with anything except going to McDonald's for coffee because that gives them potentially buying me a coffee. Or it's sadly sticking to making terrible YouTube videos. But as far as health and device, you cannot listen to somebody who flippy floppy like this. Would you want to follow this? Seriously? I've maintained pretty much the same diet, the same weight my entire life, except when I went hardcore vegan for like 6 years. But that was more to do with menopause. And it was worked with my doctor and understanding certain. Anyway, I'm not going to explain it all. Who understands a lot about health, I spend my time just trying to call this out because it is harder for me probably to be heard trying to teach good health advice because people rather listen to the, fads and nonsense and easy fixes. And it really is boring stuff done consistently over time. And nobody wants to hear that.
So
it's not glamorous. It's not sexy.
Start your walking. I know a lot of you do. Get as many steps in as you can every day. Take a couple of sessions to get it in. Walk after you.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be getting to the vet straight away to my vet this coming week. He supposedly did get dewormer and he's been fixed. He's supposedly, but he looks bad. So his whole teeth, everything needs to be descaled. Yeah, he's going to be getting the full workup. Yeah. He just supposedly got seen by the vet that I saw his record on July 1st from the pound, but obviously, no, he's going to my vet because he needs to get on his flea medications and everything else. Oh yeah. He's going to be seen. We're just trying to let him settle in and come in. I just got him yesterday. It was all done very quick, but yes, absolutely.
Eat. Make it a point to get out, get some vitamin D, and then think good. When you first wake up in the morning, you got to plan this out. You got to start thinking, all right, here it is, another day. I woke up. What am I going to do? Go in there and turn on the news? Am I going to eat a big old bowl of cereal?
I don't know, Tim. Is that how you used to roll in the morning? I mean, what do you think other people are doing? It's either that you think this is your life that you're describing to us, or this is the life you think that your watchers, your viewers are living. Really? You think this is what people, this is not the stories that I get from people. This is not what I hear a lot of people do. It's not what I woke up to this morning. I woke up at just a little bit before 6. Obviously, I have 2 dogs that need to get outside and go potty. So they got pottied and then we got to do, walks and breakfast and all that good stuff and their little treats. Now both of them are snoozing over here in the living room. And then once I'm done with this work, thank you. Make sure you hit the likes, comments, subscribes. Then we're off to, probably do another walk. And then Junebug has to have a bath this afternoon. I probably got to do some housework and get ready because I work Sunday through Wednesday, Tim, at my whatever you call my prison job, where I get to hang out with this little 2-year-old kid. But you know what the difference is, Tim? And this is just for you and nobody in the audience, Tim. My prison job got me a pre-approval for a mortgage. You know what that means? That means I actually get to look at houses. And I just got sent a big old list from my realtor. So even though I didn't get this house, doesn't mean I can't get another house. So I get to then look at houses that I've been pre-approved for. And then I can, think of, get this house ready to be put on the market. So that's kind of where I am, And then I've just got my stuff right here to do my laundry. It's not a big old plan.
And just sit in the chair here all morning? Or am I going to do something with my life? And get out and meet people, smile, create some conversations, go buy yourself a new shirt, a pair of shorts or something. How about a new pair of shoes to walk in? Something to give you some good self-esteem, some good feeling. What time is it?
New pair of shoes to walk in? Self-esteem? Now we know how Tim gets his self-esteem. Tim's very telling in this video. Very telling. He has no real understanding of health or diet. He can't stick to an exercise lifestyle for more than 2 seconds. Shocker. The running is already gone, but I'm sure frying his skin to death isn't. She'll be lobster red by the end of the day. Not wearing sunscreen. I'm sure that's still on the list. Drinking obscene amounts of coffee. Absolutely there. I'll show you where that tells you that's why you're getting the leg cramps, Tim. You're drinking it even later and later at night. And then you wonder why you got leg cramps. Ooh. And then you're going to listen to all the people in your comment section. Next thing you know, Tim's going to be running down, getting a bottle of magnesium before he even knows what his magnesium levels are. Because that's the kind of rocket science that goes on in Tim's comment section.
804, they're open. I guess, yeah, they are.
People don't understand when they got you home.
And just find something that will give you a little shot in the arm. And then once you begin, as I always say, half the battle is to begin anything. And you will be on your way. You just have to start. Like I haven't arrived, but I've left the starting point, and now I'm really.
Sadly, Jay, those 4 pairs of shoes did not fill Tim's void of his self-esteem. Because Tim is all appearance, no substance. Tim has no substance. You see, he's so worried about his appearance. Obviously, I care about my appearance all the time. I could probably appear pretty attractive if I gave 2 hecks and put some makeup and did my hair. But I don't care about that because I got to go hang out with some dogs soon. So, I'll be dog bathing in a minute. But he is so concerned about how people perceive him from the outside because he went door to door trying to sell coupons. He didn't want to look like he was completely homeless. So he got to look like he's rocking all this and that as he, heads to his travel trailer that in a few years is going to be like rusted out. And with his 2 cars in front of it. I mean, isn't that almost like a joke?
Motivated to keep on going. So I got everything in the truck here. The reason I'm driving it is I've got my beach chair, my beach buggy, my beach umbrella, which you're going to need. I got my dive equipment, my mask, snorkel, and fin.
Oh, great. Let's see if he actually makes it out to the beach or he's just full of talk. I thought you were doing all those press-ups and crunches, Tim. Why do you need a beach buggy to carry all that? You should be able to carry all that without a problem. What are you talking about?
I got a hat. I got everything in that beach buggy. I can just load it up. And
doesn't he sound like a minimalist to you? What happened to the hashtag minimalist living? Oh, that's right. Tim's a minimalist because he minimally has a living accommodation. Because you minimally have a house. And
you push it onto the beach. I don't have to make multiple trips back to my truck.
Minimal income.
And if I went there just with a chair and my umbrella, I'd be carrying everything. And so this way, I got everything I need because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm taking a vehicle that can carry it all. And I got the stuff in the back that can carry all of it. I've also got plenty
Yeah.
of ice cold water in a cooler, and that's all I drink. I didn't even bring one of
Oh, yeah, that's all you drink, Tim? Okay, listen to this point. Listen to this, guys. Listen to this. This is going to tell you where Tim's been not his calories have been coming from.
those teas, and I will be busy.
One of those teas. Now, if anybody has understood what one of those teas is here in the United States, what he means is obviously something maybe like a Lipton tea or an Arizona iced tea or one of these teas, one of those cans of sugar. Because if one of the drinks that probably has, or one of those pure teas or whatever, if you ever look on one of those iced tea drinks, if I drink iced tea, it's black, and I put a little tiny bit of like lemonade, almost like an Arnold Palmer, but not quite, just to give a little bit of sweetness, just a little tiny bit. Nothing else, no sugar. Just the sugar from the lemonade, the freshly squeezed lemonade is enough. And it has agave as the sweetener, not regular sugar. But sugar, regardless. But Tim obviously been like chowing, drinking down those Arizona teas. It's just cans of sugar. They have like the worst. They're like 40 grams often of sugar. And that's just like literally sugar. So if you've been doing that and then you're trying to tell people, this is why you can't listen to people like Sarasota Tim on the internet. For health, diet, anything. Because in the background, he's doing nonsense to his body, and he's not going to ever be honest about it until he slips up and talks about it openly. Fred gave Teddy gave him away when he said he always goes to Burger King and stuff. So none of us, Tim just chooses and picks and chooses. This isn't anybody who's an actual licensed health professional who would have some type of liability for having given bad health advice. Tim, these people who are out here and saying this stuff should be held liable. He shouldn't think that he could just get away with saying what, and unfortunately he has. He's been able to come out here. Oh, he went out with a Social Security video last night. Like he was a freaking expert. The story went from him getting a letter to doing all this research. You're just full of it, Tim. You are just full of it.
All day today, burning calories, keeping my insulin low, becoming more in a ketosis.
What do you mean keeping your insulin low? What do you mean by that? What in the heck do you mean by keeping your insulin low? Do you understand what you're saying there? Do you know what insulin does? Do you know where insulin comes from? Do you understand the process of a metabolic disorder like diabetes, which also could be a vasculature disorder? Do you even know what a vasculature is? It's not the insulin that's doing it, that does.
Where my energy is coming from my fat, and will continue to drop another pound maybe today. Patience is what I've learned. Even if it's a pound a day, do you know that in 30 days, that's 30 pounds?
He's not
and
even
no one's going to really lose
anymore.
a pound every day. So, you just got to do what you can do, but begin.
Promise you, my videos get as many views as Tim's. And for different people I make reactions about. Tim's not popular. Most of his views are coming from not popularity.
Again today, make that bed when you get up. And what I was going to say a minute ago, I got sidetracked. You got a lot of stuff to do today. You want to change your life. Well, what direction do you go? The best thing you can do is to hit the floor on your knees next to your bed, sit down in a chair.
Tim, if I was trying to look at you in Erickson's stages of development, you're usually supposed to be pretty content at this age. This is the time when you're sharing the wisdom that you have, not trying to figure it out. I'm not saying that everything you do through life is good and you don't make times when you get older and you suddenly learn lessons. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But you're picking this up at 66 years old? I mean, I'm not going to say a little too late. I think we all can learn. I certainly learn all the time. I'm always remaining in education. And yeah, do I sound like I feel like I know more than Sarasota Tim? Absolutely. Should I feel embarrassed about that? Absolutely not. I have traveled more. I have more education. I have more experience. I've owned more property. I probably have done so much more than Sarah's. And I've lived in as many different places as Sarasota Tim. And I've just done it at a more maximum level than he has, and have maintained a property the entire time without having to skip town and then leave children being uncared for.
Get where you're uninterrupted. Don't turn the TV on. Go into a private room or just walk out the door and start taking a morning walk and start thinking on the good Lord, thinking about your life, thinking about where you're at right now and where you want to go.
I'll tell you where you're at, Tim, on a slab in the heat in Florida, surrounded by losing liabilities with no gain of equity. That's where you're at, sir. You're at 66 years old, not being able to walk into a lender and get any form of pre-approval for a mortgage. I got pre-approved by myself, sir. And I could still get a pretty decent house. I wasn't even trying to really go for equity or anything. And I was, I got some debt from student loans and stuff. I still could get at least $400,000 worth of a house. Can you get a $400,000 house, Tim? Crickets.
I'm not talking about goals and financial investments. I'm talking about how can you find joy and peace? How can you have happiness?
Sorry, guys. I just got to rub that one in for Tim because he's always talking about walking in with that, plaque into Wells Fargo so he can get his mortgage. He doesn't realize because you don't have a job, Tim, because he was trying to give people a hard time about their prison jobs again. You know what? It gets us, Tim, mortgages, something you can't get. So you're going to have to boil it out in the baking sun in your little tin can.
And then how can you be in your best health? And while I can share some things and other people on the internet can share things regarding all of these topics, you need to ask the main coach of the entire universe, and that's the good Lord, upstairs. You need to just really rely on him and ask him.
I don't even think I can bring my Jesus soul that. Tim, do not keep throwing Jesus under the bus this way and God. Stop it.
What direction would I go? How do I begin? Help me to start and help me to smile today. Help me to put away anything that I did yesterday that wasn't good for me and certainly wasn't good for others. Start a new day today. Make it.
Yep. We get Preacher Tim in here. Tim who has to be in his car in the AC because, he can't be sitting it's not raining today in Florida, so it's not as cool outside. So it's hot. He can't be indoors like I can with my new little buddy Roscoe right over here by on the floor, sneeze. We got Miss Junebug up on the couch. We got the babies here in the air conditioning with Mama talking to the YouTube community. Nope. Tim's never goes live. He's been, kissing butt up to his community lately like nothing because he can't afford to lose any more people.
Day that you'll remember. Make it where that tomorrow you can look back on today and say, you know what? I did a good job yesterday and I saw how the good Lord was working in my life. I want to build on that.
Oh, yeah.
All those days that were mundane in the past that just bled.
Isn't that the most annoying thing ever? We RN see it all, man. And we do understand. We see, and having this guy out, it's insulting. It's embarrassing. And the fact that people want to downplay the professionalism of people who are registered nurse, you're even more creepy. And that's even more sad.
One into another of the same stuff, getting up and gossiping, listening to the media, worrying about all the talking points that have no real reality. Almost. No.
His pocket full of hundreds, Carol, is in his subscribers' pockets. He's waiting for them to send him on Buy Me a Coffee. He's hoping he can Kenneth Copeland some money out of some people right this moment. Preach it, Tim.
No reality because they just want to promote it and you're taking it in. Get off that Facebook. Get off that TikTok. Get off those things that you're reading and absorbing in your mind on a daily basis and change it.
Says Tim, who just read and absorbed a bunch of nonsense on the internet about his carnivore diet. With no real, if I actually showed him some studies, and we'll take a look at some stuff, then and I'll link them in the description box below because you know how I like to read my studies when I come out here. I always do my research. before I even, and I'm looking at topics over that I've read millions of time, but there's always new things coming out, and it gives me an opportunity to see what's new in the literature. And if you keep wanting to tell us that people like us, that we're working for Big Pharma, you need to actually see who the studies are funded by. That's where it will tell you whether or not Big Pharma was linked to the funding of that study or not. They have to disclose these things. So you don't understand how to read evidence. Oh my gosh, look at this man. I cannot.
Everything I just said, make that your new life, your new exercise. Make that the thing that you read. Make that the things that you think about. And in no time, even today, by the end of the day, you can be well on your way to a new life of purging out. And you know what?
Sometimes my pronunciation of that word is terrible. Girl, and I am terrible. I know what I'm saying, and I say it terribly. So thank you.
The more that the fog clears,
but that's what
and the more you move past bad eating, bad thinking, bad things that you watch, bad things that you read, and all these things, every inch that you move past that, the clearer you see how that was detrimental to you. And you look at other people and you say, wow, they haven't found it yet. They are so caught up in all of that crap.
And that's me, I guess. Wow, that pupil, you can tell where they've put the drops in. Keep going. Tim, if you're going to be out here, you need to keep your sunglasses on. I know you're preaching. You feel like you need to show your eyes, but think about your eyeballs, okay? You don't really...
Whether it be the food they're eating, you go to the store, you look at their grocery cart, and you just see how they're poisoning themselves. I did it decades and decades.
Well, then, you're the last, I understand people want to share their stories and stuff, but that does not mean that you're an advocate of health expertise. I think there's a blurry line, and I think it's a society, we have to understand, it's great. And it's great to hear how other people did, but their bodies aren't the same. And if you're not actually talking to your medical professional and looking for things, then what you start to worry about are numbers on a scale and your aesthetics. And you may not be really thinking about, what am I doing to my heart muscle? What am I doing to my actual overall, body composition, as far as the minerals in my body, the electrolytes in my body, the function of my liver, the function of my kidneys. And none of these things are being considered. It's just literally, how many pounds came off my body? What do I look like standing in the mirror? And if you are thinking that way, you will never be successful. Those are things that are always going to cause you to not really be looking at really what is the overall goal of being somebody in good health. And I think that is where people are watching things on the media, but you're not really talking to a healthcare professional. And that's a problem.
So yeah, I can preach it now. No. And I talk that way, and I thought that way, and I acted that way. But you know what? I've put away those things. I've changed my life. I'm still changing my life. And you can too.
Changing from what? All those things that you had many, and I'm curious to know, and the records are pretty old, what all your criminal misdemeanors were in North Carolina. And I'm not talking about the traffic tickets, Tim. Chuck knows what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the criminal misdemeanors.
It's really simple. It really is. And like I said a moment ago before I end the video, you will see and feel the difference in your life the first day you try to start doing these things. And then there's no turning.
Who is he talking to? Do you really think his audience are people that, I mean, I'm not saying there aren't. I've had to work with people, and I will say, I had an older male patient. He was not married. He was a preacher, like a priest, but he didn't have a congregation as such. He did more like outreach type pastoral work. And he had been somebody who's had a cancer scare. And then during that time, I guess, while they check your heart in order to do the cancer treatments, he found out that he had coronary artery disease and was actually entering into heart failure. And so I had worked with him like twice, was able to get him qualified for sessions of cardiac rehab, so that he was with us for probably like 6 months. And we did see improvement in his heart function. obviously along with the medication and Entresto. But it was, I must admit, it was very difficult to try to educate a single male who had just been eating kind of Stouffer's meals and going to Red Lobster and getting fast food, really what that food was doing to his heart, and trying to get him to eat more fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and staying away from like salty foods. It really was a struggle.
Back. It's like, wow. I'm not talking about when you tried to quit smoking and failed. I'm not talking about when you went on a diet and failed. I'm not talking about when you turned the media off and failed. I'm talking about getting back on the horse and asking the one that can help you.
Please give my apologies to Kaylee. Unfortunately, people like to see Tim big and me small.
That gives you the strength, and mean it. And then you're well on your way to crushing it.
Okay, yeah, no. All right, Tim. Look at that. Crushing it. Yeah, okay. Who is buying this? I guess Angel Mission. Who else? Who else is buying it in his chat? I don't know. Make sure you hit the likes. We're gonna watch one more video, and then we're gonna call it quits. This was the one that he had today. Let's see. Let me just try to see. Hold on, let me make it, because what I'm curious about more is 613 views in 3 hours, Tim. That's not many views. 613 views. Yeah, I think. Oh, and then last night he tried to pop out another myth about collecting Social Security at 62. And he's almost 3,000. So he still gets a little bit off of that one. So we're actually... Then he wanted to talk about his carnivore paying off. Okay, Tim. More disordered eating. And we actually are going to go over to this one, sadly. Because he had so much medical stuff. Fortunately, he's maybe at the beach at the moment. Maybe he's watching me, because he's not made another video. This late show video last night, I think we're going to hear it somewhere where he spoke about the fact, he just projects. Who is he speaking to in this video? Himself? No, it's all his 111,000 souls that hang on his every word of wisdom. That's what, 3 times the speed. I can't understand him, them Tar Heels. You know that. I can't understand him. Okay, so first, let's just share this tab real fast, and I'll be really quick over this. So one of the things that we obviously know about Tim is that he is promoting what could be seen as any time that you eliminate foods from a diet, you're having a restrictive diet. As much as people don't want to hear that language, I can let you know, coming as a healthcare professional, even I in some way have a restrictive diet because I choose not to eat meat that comes from animals that live on the land. I will eat occasionally fish. I'll eat occasionally a little bit of shrimp, maybe crab meat. But otherwise, I don't eat meats that come from animals sources. I don't drink dairy milk so much. I may occasionally have an odd egg, but I tend to eat an egg white. I mean, so yes, I could be said to have in some ways a restrictive diet, but not to the point where I just have, otherwise I am one of these people who put 14 things on one fork and take a bite. So I don't have issues around actually like food in itself. Like people have a lot of different types of disordered eating. And mainly when we look at it from a mental health perspective, we think of the main types of categories where people are either restricting their calorie intake or going above their calorie intake as far, and then having control over it, and then having the binge purge type behaviors around that. So that's kind of how we tend to look at it. And then obviously with children. Now, children can get oral aversions, but I think one of the things is that we are starting to see a little bit of change behind that. And so I just wanted to point out this one point. talks about, dietary restraint. And this is the point I just wanted to kind of point out, and really where it comes from Tim, around the idea of restricting food here. Okay, so it says over the past 50 years, the term dieting has earned a bad reputation in some quarters and a good reputation in others, which we can hear. Tim sees dieting good. I, look at dieting in the respect of having potentially, when somebody says that, I'm thinking of people trying to restrict calorie intake. And so maybe my connotation around dieting is not as positive as, say, Tim's. So it's just really, and obviously we know that people can have all types of issues. Now, Tim never talks about it. But so this is the point that's important. It's as unsupervised dieting in adolescence, do-it-yourself dieting approaches. Who has a do-it-yourself dieting approach? Tim. Tim does. Even though he says he's watching people, he really is doing it yourself, because he really isn't talking to a nutritionist, a registered dietitian. He's probably not discussing this with his healthcare provider. He's just gathering some information, talking to some people in his comment section, exchanging some emails, and then coming on YouTube and making monetized content around it. It's really bad. Promotion of fad diets or methods promoted in the popular media and most recently encouraged through social media platforms may do harm. We realize that this type of diet promotion is pervasive. On the other hand, continuing a dialogue that all forms of dietary restriction are potentially harmful and ineffective for all individuals is not true, nor is it useful for public health. And that is correct. There are certain diets that we do need to have individual on. But somebody like Tim, who doesn't really understand the full effect of what he's saying or doing or what it could do on his body, this is where it's so we really are, as healthcare professionals, we've got to figure out how to tackle this. This is going to make all sorts of issues around public health going ahead in the future. And things are not always going to be positive. So we, as a community of healthcare professionals, we're recommending that it's time to leave the term dieting to history and to give more specific language we use and specific recommendations for healthy living. And as you notice, I called it disordered eating. I did not use that term because I do understand that there is a term that we need to get away from and all of the language and connotation around it. Otherwise, how can we change the messaging and the relationship between people and food and having people eat foods that are better for them? So we have to get a consistent message, and then so forth. And so public health messaging must acknowledge the complex relationship, and this is where I'll finish off. We'll get to Tim's next video, between weight and health, including both the risks and benefits of dietary restriction. Thus, more balanced messaging approaches should incorporate evidence-based guidance. Okay, we should discourage extreme, unsustainable forms of dietary restriction, including media-endorsed fad diets, i.e. that carnivore diet is probably one of the most media-induced fad diets that I've known for a while, along with the keto diet, all these things, Atkins, all of it, or non-evidence informed, do-it-yourself strategies. All this fasting and going 24 hours without eating. Why are you doing this to your body? Other than to try to say you want to lose that weight off your front, you're going to gain it right back. That you just don't understand. You actually could potentially be doing your body more harm for it to want to hold on to that weight, that fat, Tim, because it thinks it's going to go into starvation mode with you all the time. Because if you're constantly starving your body that way, what is your body going to do? It's going to maintain its reserves of fat because it doesn't know when you're going to starve it again. So if anything, what you are doing is actually going to cause you to gain potentially weight in the long run or not lose weight at all. Maybe very short in the short term. that you are a big weight loss in the short term, but it's not sustainable in the long run. So it's very, very ill-informed. All right. 2, limiting a reduction in caloric intake to guided in ILI, evidence-based programming. And 3, improving health behaviors, nutritious foods, and moderate exercise, rather than a limited, specific focus on outcome of weight loss alone. An example of this type of messaging might include discussion of the functional benefits, e.g. reduced stress and improved mood, of engaging in healthy forms and amounts of exercise instead of marketing health behaviors as weight loss behaviors. And I will link this article down below. It's actually a paper written about the complicated relationships between dieting, dietary restriction, caloric restriction, and eating disorders. Is a shift in public health messaging warranted? This was from 2022, which makes it cited within the last 5 years. Okay. I probably lost everybody there, but oh yeah, we got him, Kathleen, I got him like this freeze-dried food that we reconstitute with water. That's like, I got it from like a specialty dog food store here in town. He got in probiotics. Oh yeah, and I'm not overdoing it because I know, having worked with I have a feeding pump patient actually. So I do a lot of stuff around gastric patients, and so I also understand you can't overfeed him. So I'm obviously having to be just his 2 meals a day and just build him up slowly, trying to conserve his energy so that he's not using up the calories. And then obviously as we gain weight, then obviously his portions can get larger. But I don't want to kind of overdo it because you can, stretch the stomach, you'll make the dog ill. So yeah, but he's already been like pooping and stuff really good. No health benefits. Right. And the thing is, we fast every night. That's why they called it breakfast, because you broke your fast from sleeping. So you're already fasting. And your body does all sorts of different things at night, which is why sleep is probably the most important thing that you can get, to let those that go away. Oh, that's great, Ray. I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's going to get there. And we're going to get his teeth all taken care of. Yeah, I got all these things lined up for him yesterday. We went to the little local dog food place, and the lady who's so good and trains dog for free was giving me little tips for him. And they just do a lot of work with dogs, rescues, and so it's a really nice, like, holistic dog food store. So we were there, and that's where they get all their dog food from. And he'll move over to June, but I can promise you, his little coat, he is just on the floor. He's snoozing away. He is going to get there, guys. He will make you sad if you saw him. Tim is so self-absorbed with how he looks. Yeah, and it's really unhealthy. So Tim is just, as much as he was thinking out there, preaching something that nobody's ever heard, Tim, you're just perpetuating a narrative around eating and looks and all of these things that is so toxic and so unhealthy. And it's an unhealthy way to have any time. People have always wanted to be as thin as me, and I promise you, what I haven't had is this craziness around food. But I've avoided, I've never had soft drinks. I don't drink Cokes. I've never liked that. Those sugared drinks. Avoided those things like the plague my entire life. It's either been coffee, tea, or water, I have to say. I don't drink even fruit juice. I get one type of like a detox little green juice once a week. That's it, because that's just pure juiced out sugar in there. And I know if eating the pulp, you need all these things. Anyway, let's get back over. Oh, hey, you're here. You're fine. You're fine. It's Saturday. We're all chill. Okay, we're going back to Tim. And then, so we're going to go to this one because Tim thinks the carnivore is paying off.
Mix.
No, hold on, Tim.
That's the model.
Why are you always talking? I'm supposed to be talking. I'm the one talking. Tim does not understand that I'm the one talking. He's so rude. Hey, Sammy, come on in. I was trying to wake everybody up this morning. What a sports drink. water sports drinks here are all no sugar. Yeah, I mean, if you get, like, I promise you, when I was not, I needed to get my electrolytes balanced from the antibiotics. I definitely was having the ones without sugar and just getting the ones that you add powder to the water, and those ones are obviously always that. But I tend to just do carbonated water is one of my little things. I'll have one at night. I know you can't have too many throughout the day. It's just ice water. I just get a big jug of ice water filled up one of those Stanley Cup things that they gave us from work. And I just have that going all day long so that I can always have a cold sip of water throughout the day. It's ready there to go in the cup. And then if, I'll drink a coffee in the morning or whatever. Wouldn't try to have one late at night, Tim. We'll find out why in a minute. Keep paying off, down 14 pounds, and I feel great. I mean, what sort of just the wrong type of disordered eating message is this? Tim, just perpetuating. You got to read the complicated relationship article. If you're feeling like, read it. It's interesting.
It is. And I've got a little cream here. I put my avocados in the refrigerator based on what one of you told me, so they won't ripen. Yeah, I know. I'm looking up at the,
Well, Tim, no, your avocados aren't going to ripen in the fridge. What you need to do is take them out the fridge, take them from a girl who lived in Mexico. Go put them in a paper bag. That will ripen it. Once you got them ripened, then you put them in the fridge to keep them from ripening further. Now, they'll lose a little flavor going in the fridge, but they will last a long time. But you're never going to ripen that thing sitting in the fridge. That thing's just going to go brown and nasty in the fridge. You need to take it out the fridge. I know you're listening and you're watching. Take it out. Go put it in a paper bag. Paper bag is going to help get that thing ripened. Not in the refrigerator. See, he's listening to way too. He doesn't know. I don't know
what it is, but it's up there.
That's your tip, see.
The other one's right there. It's probably been easier to use, but I'll take this down in just a minute. All right, we're good. We're going to do some laundry this morning. Hey, say good morning to the 196 man. That's right. 190.
I am so sorry for your loss. And I know that was hard because it wasn't expected. And that's the hardest. And Tim has no consideration. He's just out here saying things. He's not thinking that his audience may be really struggling with health illnesses or someone lost a loved one. Doesn't disclaim it. He has no idea. It's just Tim. Tim just needs to figure out how he can get another big video like he got the Social Security. Which one is going to make me more popular next? See, I stick to one thing. I talk about people and their health stuff primarily. And luckily, people always want to come out and talk health and diet topics and stuff. So it gives me a whole fodder full of things that I can react to because I do work in healthcare and I have to manage people who come in with these types of messaging and trying to re-educate them around health because they've heard nonsense for too long from people like this. Don't know what they're talking about.
96.
I'm sorry for your loss.
That's from 210. What is that? 195. That's 14 pounds. Here we go. I'm not going to use a spoon. Watch how little I did. Huh? That wasn't too bad. Come on.
He obviously doesn't like black coffee. And the caffeine is what's really getting him messed up. He's replaced one addiction, it seems like, for another, and the addiction is now caffeine. And caffeine is an addictive substance. It is listed, believe it or not, in the DSM-5 as an addiction, along in the substance use disorder part. Caffeine is right there with nicotine and cocaine.
Oh, damn, that ain't even enough. Let's see what it looks like with the color. You got a good shot of it? I know what I'll do. Just won't add much coffee.
The thought is that he was left laying as usually the skull that's flat like that. That's an indication that potentially as a child he was left in a laying position for a long time, and that therefore his skull did not form properly, and his skull became flat because he was left flat on the floor, just laying in the crib or whatever as a baby. You have to like make sure that you don't do that to babies, to make sure that their heads get properly formed.
So you get that creamy taste. This is the first sip. Oh, first sip this morning. I just stepped out of the shower, washed my face and hands, combed my hair, put on a shirt.
The reason I know this is because I work with premature babies who we have to make sure that we put their skulls in certain ways or get them lying in certain directions and moving their heads and so forth. So we don't have them lying just consistently on the back of their heads and flattening the back of that skull in order to get the proper skull formation. So it's the only thing that could potentially have happened is that Tim just did potentially spend too much time lying on his head as a baby, flat on the back of his head. And he didn't get that good skull development. It's sad but true.
Oh, folks, that's the best cup of coffee I've ever drank in my life. Dang, that's good coffee.
I don't think so necessarily. The back of the brain, you're going to be doing probably more of your, not if that's not your frontal lobe part of thinking. It's more you're going to be your senses in the back of the brain. More your motor like that.
Oh, check it out. Old Police Don sent me 2 of these, right?
Yeah.
He was wondering why I go to McDonald's when he gave me all this coffee. I'm like, I drink it. I drink it everywhere. Yeah. When I'm not home, I got to have it.
It's wild. He does really so that he always looks like he's got something new. He is the return man. Returning shoes, returning clothes. So you see him constantly in something new. I've probably showed up a million times in this and lives in this t-shirt. I don't care. You know, that's a sort of superficiality I've never cared about very much. I've met a lot of superficial people in my time, I promise you. I had an ex-husband who worked in the entertainment industry as a TV personality.
I'll be breaking open that second one here later today, probably. Next pot. There's not enough in there to make a pot.
I promise you, Roscoe's already been up on the bed. That's the name I gave him. I gave him the name Roscoe. I was between Vans, because of obviously the black and white and the Vans shoes, or Roscoe, because he had a different name. I didn't like the name he came with. I was like, not keeping that name. Not as the dog that was the longest dog at the Virginia Beach shelter. That dog was there probably for years, guys. He is a genuinely true rescue. You know, he's a dog that nobody would take. He's so skin and bones. He probably weighs half what he should be weighing. I'm telling you, it would make you cry if you saw how, and you know, when people saw him, there's no way people would just immediately would say no, just left at the back of the kennel, nobody even looking at him. And they recommended him coming out, and I always take the recommendations from the kennel people. And when I saw him and he still wanted to get snuggles from me, even with Junebug there, and that he was like, hey, hey, I'm a sweet boy. I slept on it. Because it was 2 minutes before the adoption center closed. It was like 2 minutes to 5. Kids like, well, the adoption center closes in 2 minutes. I was like, look, let me not make these people's lives a nightmare. It's open tomorrow. And so I just let him, I got everything ready here at home. That's what gave me time to get the house, just his little crate out and whatever, clean up the corner, whatever that I needed to do for him. Just get some stuff put in place, get his food, things I wanted, just other things, treats to bring with me to the shelter. And yeah. All right, keep going, Tim.
Oh, come on down. Hang on a second. That's what I need to do.
Hey, Brianna, come on in.
Grab the tank. Throw the tank on.
No woman wants him. If any woman is smart enough, she will not link arms with Mr. Baker. That is somebody who is going to anticipate that she's like dabbing his brow when he don't feel good. But if she bangs her leg, expect him to be filming and laughing. Who wants that, man?
I do got to go to BJ's.
Oh, great.
You know the shorts I told you I bought? I got a pair of the gray ones on.
Oh, great.
And I bought navy. Well, last night I threw on a pair of black ones. Going back.
Need I say more? He's so concerned about his appearance. This is, just all it is appearance. When anybody is that concerned about their appearance, I just think it shows a lack of depth of character. Where are you developing your actual, real, true character? Things that really genuinely matter to you, because your diet really doesn't matter. You're just doing that for clicks and views or whatever you think's going to make you popular with your audience. You got no conviction, Tim. You've got zero. The only thing you're have conviction for is to how to get money out of people, whether it's free taxpayer dollars out of the American people or money for buy me a coffees or some fool sending you coffee. I mean, why anybody wants to support this or give this anything, beyond me. Beyond me.
You ain't gonna believe why. I don't normally do that. I normally make sure. Yeah, you guessed it. Wrong size. Where is it? I already got them bagged up, ready to go. Check this out.
Well.
What does that say?
A
big M. I threw them on. I said, oh, come on. I'm going up in weight. I can't even get any shorts. Or these Chinese junks, one size, one of them fits and one of them doesn't. That happens.
Really? And you're going to be xenophobic and sound like just the most type of abhorrent human being where you talk and discriminate other people? It's bad enough that you made an assumption that a gentleman who happened to be from Canada, you just gave him a random Asian nation to where he came from. You just looked at him and then you assigned him, Tim, to a random Asian country. It's just not cool. It's not funny. It makes you look really out of touch. It's embarrassing. Do you know how embarrassing it is to share a country and well, I would say a passport, but Tim, you don't have a passport, and I do. Believe it or not, I was born in Virginia. Come from one of the oldest families in Virginia. So everybody who wants to tease me for my accent or say I'm from, try to mix up West Virginia and Virginia, promise you look pitiful and misogynistic. And you know who I'm talking about. Sad. Absolutely sad. The level of xenophobia and misunderstanding is just so clear. Sad.
Too.
Sad and embarrassing.
The wrong size. And it was like putting on a girdle. So if I'm going to lose weight or be down to 180, I probably would be a medium, maybe. But not yet. Hey. Put on a little foo-foo juice. We got plenty of it. Lots of it.
Whatever, Tim. Doesn't make your stank from how you don't know anything smell any better. Promise you. It's not going to make the stank of your shoes back there any better. Stink of your bad advice.
That's the way it smells the best. If you literally put it on your skin, like.
Thank you. Yeah, hit the likes, guys. I'm very cheerful this Saturday.
You let it just fall.
Tim is just terrible.
Get it on your clothes and your hair. That's right, because you smell good. That is good coffee. I can't wait to have some more of it.
Isn't he just taking a big old did you just get a big old thing of cologne in your mouth, Tim? And you woofed it down? And then you sipped your coffee. I know that tasted terrible. Who are you trying to smell good for? Are you having what we call a French bath because you got no access to a shower? That's why he's got to get the foo-foo juice, guys.
I put it in my mouth. I breathe it in. That's
why he's got to get the foo-foo juice, because Tim got no access to a shower in the trailer. Well, he does, but he's got to actually run that black water tank and stuff, and he's the laziest to do anything. Tim will go out shopping all day, but you think he actually gets out and does any hardcore graft? Does anything? You should not own a home, Tim. Not even new construction.
Coffee. I mean, rinse it down.
That's funny.
Well, I got Giorgio Armani breath now. Oh God. Oh, there we go. We got it back. We got our palate back.
Just let you know, anything with buy me a coffee is going to go to Roscoe's Dental Care because he probably has $2,000 or $3,000 worth of work to do. Most of his teeth are rotted, so I appreciate it, guys. And obviously I make my own money, but if anybody wants to help because he is going to be expensive, I appreciate it. If not, I just bring out content and build a community and give away, memberships and stuff, and I'm happy to do that too. So like, comment, and subscribe because that helps me take care of Roscoe and Junebug, both the rescues from the local shelter. I don't pay it forward to somebody in a Mercedes, okay? I pay it forward with little puppies here that, have been years in the pound. And this dog was. I've seen him for years on that website.
Damn good coffee.
I took the dog that was the longest in the pound.
I just don't want to have to hold that thing, but I guess I will. Yeah, so these avocados. This one I left out. Does that really work? I'll put them in the refrigerator. So I put all those other ones in there. And I need time before I want to eat this because I'm not eating until 5 o'clock. 24 hours every day, a fast. Once a day at 5 o'clock is when I eat. And it is working, baby. The old slide your ass away from the table never fails. Those 2 steaks last night.
It's comments like that. It's just no understanding of portion control, no understanding of how to create a balanced meal. It's just this rhetoric that's just has to stop. Push away from this. Yeah, well, I guess having good portion control, but this type of I know it sounds folksy and cutesy and Dr. Philly and stuff. It's shite, damaging and harmful.
$46 for one meal of the whole day.
And listen to him. Sorry, Judge Joe Mathis cannot come out anymore, StreamYard, unless I pay some ridiculous amount of money. And I'm not giving it to you, StreamYard. I'm giving it to my dog. Judge Joe Mathis definitely feeling like a dry bed came out. Don't worry, we'll upgrade to the other on the one stream. We'll figure it out. StreamYard's just ridiculous. But yeah, Tim, that was $40-some on steaks in one day. Is your audience supposed to pay for that? Well, you better bring out some decent freaking content then that people actually want to watch. You don't build a community. You better do something, Tim, because I know you're buying me a coffee probably drying up like your kidneys.
There was some tough meat in there. There was. You know what I like to eat? You remember roast potatoes and carrots? You make it in a crock pot. My mom never had a crock pot. I'm personally not giving out memberships today. I'm waiting until I go over Chantel's foot. Because the first question I had about Foodie Beauty's foot was that the foot with the broken toes? Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a lot of stuff to say about that. And everybody in Girl World's a doctor. Like Tim. Tim's a doctor too. They weren't even invented yet. We put it in the oven. She had a big pan or on the stove or something. And it would just be that shredded beef. It's roast beef. It's not a steak. But juicy, got that fat in there. Potatoes and carrots. Now, I know, no potatoes and carrots. First question I asked, was it on the foot with the broken toes? Because one thing you should never do is fly soon after a break, because you're going to give yourself all sorts of issues. And that was the fit that, she's going to bear weight, both feet. So there's all sorts of stuff going on. And I'm not surprised it's on the foot with the broken toes. So this, that was not a wise decision to, have that and then fly so soon after. But then again, she sparks around on about 2 brain cells. So I'm not shocked. But I would love to eat some meat like that. I've had a couple of crock pots and they keep disappearing. Or I don't want them to throw them away or something, give them away. And everybody always tells me, get yourself one of them crock pots or what do you call it? Not a crock pot, but some kind of.
Oh, I love the performative where he's just showing you when he put one cream in. Because you know the minute the camera goes off, 5 creams going into that goddamn coffee. Just Tim, either you are who you are as a human being, or you're just gonna be impressionable for your audience.
Cooker.
Just
a half a cup.
Influential. Like the word
So
was
I'm gonna have to
impressionable.
Get one. And
Tim was calling himself influential when the word he had been looking for was impressionable. He has no idea. He just throws out words. He threw out the word dogmatic. He probably heard that on one of his red pill videos.
And go on YouTube and figure out a recipe and eat on that. I think today at 5 o'clock, it's going to be more Rudy's. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to chow down some of that Rudy's turkey tonight. There's no fat in it. It's kind of lean. I need my fat. So I'm going to have to figure out, and if that avocado was ripe, I could have that with it. Maybe I'll wait till tomorrow to do Rudy's, and this avocado might be ripe. That thing is a long way from ripe. They're big. BJ's, you know, everything you buy there, you got.
Stick it in a paper bag, Tim. God, if you're going to freaking Google or YouTube, at least figure the way to ripen an avocado faster. And it's not in the fridge.
Buy it by the pallet. And these avocados were in a bag, like 5 or.
Do you understand the process of oxidization at all? Do you understand how anything oxidizes? Do you understand anything about the oxidation process? Maybe if you limit the amount of oxygen that the plant is getting, that maybe therefore it will ripen faster.
How many of them do I have? 2, 4. Yeah, there was 5. 5 big ends. All right, come on down out of there. Come out of that tree. There you go. This is a little rubber leg tripod that I have. I have 2 or 3 that hold.
He doesn't have the money to move that truck. His channel is losing money. He blows and wastes his money away. He never decided to actually build a true community. When he had money come in from his channel, should have hired an editor. Gotten some clips, sent it to an editor. Let them put it together to make decent daily vlogging content. Because you had the money and the finances. But you're so greedy, Tim, that you didn't really think to how to project the channel into something that you could consistently grow and keep over a period of time. So you got given a really big gift and you basically have wasted it. I don't know what else to tell you, mate.
My phone. And this one you can like bend around a tree or something like that and take photos or videos, you know, with the little button you can walk away with. And I've got this thing here.
Yeah.
I got to sit down. Oh, I got to tell you something.
Thank you, Tony.
This morning I woke up and all right, work. Yeah, see, it's not. That's why I don't mess with it much. Stretched, you know, in the bed.
Oh, here we
go. And I pointed my toes out. Holy mackerel. I can't even walk still. My left calf, my left one, drew up, cramped up so hard, the hardest in my life. I mean, I almost had to scream like a girl. It was painful.
So Tim got a Charlie horse? Okay. I'm listening, Tim, because I know your audience put in a bunch of all sorts of stuff. And we're actually going to take a look at what could be causing things like a nocturnal leg cramp or these cramps that you get when you wake up first thing in the morning. First, we're going to have to rule out for medication use, Tim. So you have stated that you no longer take your statin medications. So I would assume that you're not having any side effects from a statin medication. I don't know what medications. You said you came off of everything. So if that's not medication induced, then we'll have to think of something else. But I'm going to let you know that you're not going to like the answer I'm going to give you as to what you need to reduce or cut out in order not to have those cramps.
I got out of bed. It was hurting to get out of bed. I didn't know. I was almost stuck laying there, but I had to get out. And then the muscle was pulled up that my heel was off the ground, you know, where I was on my toes. I couldn't even lay my heel down. I had to push down on my leg to get it down to stretch it out. Oh man, you ever had that? So is that the hydration thing? Is that just the meat? Am I getting gout? What's going on? Is it electro?
Well, Tim, you're such a medical guru, an expert. You know everything about eating healthfully. How do you not know these answers? What guideline are you going to go to? I guess the guideline will be, what nonsense will your audience tell you? Keep going. Electrolyte.
Everybody's going to tell me their opinion for sure.
Well, yeah, that's great, isn't it? Isn't that great? Let's just make sure that when we're taking care of somebody's health, or somebody has a health issue or a health matter, let's just get a round of opinions from unqualified, unlicensed people and take it from there. Well, what could go wrong with that? What could go wrong with that? I don't know. I don't know what could go wrong with that. Maybe some disordered eating and an obsession with physical appearance that's irrational and makes no sense. That actually is nothing that is shown to be healthy for your mind or your body at the end of the day. Just a bunch of aesthetic crap. I don't know. What could go wrong? I don't know. Well, let's see. You know what, Tim? I'm going to help you out, sweetheart. I'm going to help you out because I know that a lot of people suffer from these nocturnal leg cramps. Now, a lot of people could experience restless leg syndrome, and there is a disorder known as restless leg syndrome. So, Tim, obviously, if it persists and becomes something that's not acute, but something that becomes more chronic, then you're definitely going to want to talk to a healthcare provider about that. I think just trying to decide what supplements you need to add without actually getting any labs drawn is not smart, because you could actually do more harm to your kidneys at the end of the day, because you understand that your kidneys are going to have to excrete any excess of any type of supplement that you give your body if it's not needed. And that actually can be very taxing on the kidneys. So as much as you may just think you're just pissing in a toilet, it actually could be really doing harm on your kidneys. So just willy-nilly adding supplements without knowing if you're deficient in something is not something that I would ever advise. Just because these things are sold liberally on the counters and are covered under food and not under drugs necessarily, and therefore they don't get the same, they're not monitored by the FDA. So any of these supplements that you see sitting on a shelf, I don't care who the company is, they don't have to actually contain what they're stating they contain, because they're not having the same stringent qualities of a medication that's through a pharmacy. So that's often why if I'm prescribed supplements by my doctor, I often do get them from the pharmacy rather than getting them as the supplement, because I can guarantee, at least when I'm getting it through the pharmacy, like the vitamin D or any of these things, it is actually going to be that milligram amount, and that's what it is. I'm not getting a bunch of fillers or whatever from just a supplement company. So that's kind of the way I look at it in that respect. A lot of times I do get over the counters for certain vitamin Ds and things, but I always have that concern that it may not be to the exact same strength that it would state, because it's not monitored and it's not covered. It doesn't have to have the same stringent qualifications as something that is coming through the Food and Drug Administration. It's just in the 1960s, they stopped these things being monitored. So they can just have any old garbage in it. Okay. So this is and again, I will link this. This is June 18th, 2020. So pretty much within the last 5 years, nocturnal leg cramps, benign, idiopathic, just meaning coming out of nowhere. So obviously a lot of people have it. And so what do they think? Well, we know that 20% of patients who experience leg cramps have symptoms on a daily basis, to the extent that it prompts them to seek medical attention. So it's a reoccurrent painful muscle tightening, usually occurs in the calf muscle, and not only can disturb sleep, but can cause secondary insomnia. So there are certain medications, diuretics, What is caffeine, guys? Think about it. Angiotensin 2 receptor blockers. That's going to be a heart medication, any type of stimulant. What is caffeine? Not only is it a diuretic, caffeine is a stimulant. Cisplatin is another one. Have been reported to cause leg cramps in some individuals, and muscle cramps are reported in as many as 35 to 86% of patients receiving hemodialysis. Tim is obviously not getting hemodialysis. He's not a kidney patient. The most common types of leg cramps, however, are benign idiopathic leg cramps in absence of a causative disorder, typically at night. Probably Tim's. Exercise-associated leg cramps during or immediately after exercise. Probably not Tim. Tim, don't exercise that hard. Okay, risk factors. Specific to older adults, and I don't want to be horrific. Let me just see. Just make sure you like and comment when you come into the stream, everybody. Okay? Because, Tim is just going to listen to the comment section. It's all the coffee. Absolutely. But he's going to talk. Well, he doesn't seem to understand that coffee could be dehydrating him. But he's no idea. He's got no idea. Okay. Common risk factors. So, exercise, idiopathic, strenuous exercise. Tim, not that strenuous. We saw him rolling around on the e-scooter, rude as anything on the sidewalk, on the paving in Venice Beach. How rude can you be? I cannot believe anybody is so rude to think that he is so important with his crazy crap on YouTube that he can he can get on where people are walking and scoot around. 66-year-old man. You expect that from a 14-year-old, who don't know better. Not a 66-year-old, laughing and thinking he's all that in a bag of chips. What a loser. Anyway, cirrhosis. Oh, what do you get cirrhosis from, Tim? There's two types. Fatty. There's non-fatty alcoholic or alcohol-induced or non-fatty, non-alcohol induced or fatty non-alcohol induced liver. And then there's the fatty alcohol induced liver. Basically cirrhosis. I don't know. You talked about drinking a lot. Idiopathic leg cramps are common, short-lived, and usually involve calf muscles. The focus is benign. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Probably benign idiopathic leg cramps associated with other underlying conditions. So here we go. Common, usually occur in middle-aged and elderly individuals. Benign idiopathic exercise associated. Well, the exercise we're not worried about with Tim, because that's when you're actually exercising. Tim not exercising if he's lying in bed, obviously. We have to differentiate from claudication and dystonias. So you have to figure out, is it because your heart isn't working and therefore you're getting claudication in your veins? Is that what's causing that leg cramp, or, what's going on? So usually you have to rule out. Can be relieved by stretching and often prevented by stretching. So maybe you need to get into a better stretching program too. And less coffee, Tim. Usually do not require drug therapy. Though Tim, he'd be right down to the doctor's office trying to get some pain medication for the management of those pains at night. Because you got to get that pain medication. Okay, factors that increase severity. Risk and severity. Tight calf muscles, e.g. lack of stretching and activity, or possible chronic lower leg edema. We don't know if he has that swelling. Dehydration. Oh, Tim was right with that one. Electrolyte abnormalities, e.g. low potassium or magnesium. Yep, that does potentially happen. A neurologic or metabolic disorder. Drugs, and we talked about the type of drugs that were the medications, some type of withdrawal symptoms, and certain toxins. Okay. So this was a guidance for pharmacists. Now, treatment and prevention. Now, this was the big part that I really wanted to talk about here, that it came in. Prevention and treatment. Avoid stimulants, e.g. amphetamines, caffeine, cocaine, it's right in here, ephedrine, nicotine, and pseudoephedrine. Smoking. Stretch. For treatment, when a cramp occurs, stretching the affected muscle also relieves the cramp, e.g. to relieve the cramp. Calf cramp, patients can use their hand to pull the toes and foot upwards, as in a dorsiflexion. Prevention Avoid exercising immediately after eating. Are you listening, Tim? Gently stretch muscles before exercising or going to bed. Stretches of the calf and hamstring. Stand 24 inches from wall. Lean forward to wall. Heels on floor. Hold for 10 to 30 seconds. Repeat 5 times. Hydrate. Drink plenty of fluids after exercise, particularly beverages that contain potassium, if appropriate. Do not overdo potassium. You can put yourself into a cardiac arrhythmia. AFib, A-flutter. Don't want that. Treat underlying conditions when appropriate. Okay. Pharmacists should underscore the importance of avoiding dehydration. Patients should be educated about drinking plenty of fluids after exercise. Do you think Tim was drinking plenty of fluids after he's been out and about doing all this stuff? No, probably got himself another coffee from Scooters. Particularly beverages that contain potassium if appropriate. Now, I know that Tim's drinking more salts, but let's hope it's got some potassium in there. Medication is usually only needed in most persistent cases, okay? It's common, and probably from all that coffee. It can be it's uncomfortable. Stretching, Tim. It says, and referral for evaluation where appropriate. Older adults can find comfort and learn mitigation and prevention strategies for these benign but distressful conditions. Okay, Tim? Do not just go talk to a pharmacist or some type of trained medical professional. Stop. I'm not saying that people don't know in your comment section, but they're telling you everything under the sun. And you just need to stop doing it. I understand it's great to talk about health topics. Everybody loves it. Everybody's got a body. Everybody's got somebody who's been sick or they've been sick or something has happened. But you just really need to be cautious. You have no expertise. You have no ability to educate. And nurses do this type of stuff. We talk about these things. We teach patients about health topics. That's what we're supposed to do often. In working often with our other peers and our colleagues within the profession. But nurses are educators, and that's what we do. A lot of the people you see doing diabetes education, they're all nurses. It's part of what we do. Patient education, big part of our job. Okay, keep going. We're going back to Tim. We'll finish him out. Keep going, Tim.
It's not the first morning. The last few mornings I've had this.
Hey,
it's just that when I start to stretch, I'm like, don't. I'm trying to stretch my upper body. You know, when you wake up, you're yawning. And I start stretching out my leg, like dogs do. And I felt it coming on. I had to get out of the stretch, but I want to stretch, but I didn't want to get the muscle pull. So I got out of it. But this morning.
Dorsiflexion, Tim. And it sounds like you're having it regularly. So if you keep having it persistently, you do need to get evaluated by your doctor because you could be having, and I'm guessing if you had all these labs pulled, they needed to do more labs. You need to be more honest with your conversations with your healthcare provider.
All I had to do was ignite it, start stretching, and it drew up. And I mean to tell you, it was like, I'm all alone here. I'm going to die. What are you going to do? You ever get them in your thighs and your hamstrings? The calves are.
We appreciate the nurse practitioner. And yes, Tim, people have experienced it, which is why people often go and talk to the pharmacist and probably say, should I take these magnesium supplements? Of which the pharmacist probably says, I would recommend that you speak to your healthcare provider and get your labs drawn first before you start just taking a supplement. Or they may recommend that could be helpful. But I would say get your labs drawn first. You probably need to reduce the caffeine, Tim. You say you have a cup of coffee every night before bed. Maybe not a good plan. Caffeine can be very dehydrating.
The worst though. I used to get them. I've had them for years. It's not anything really new. So
well, and why are you giving health advice then?
Before you go diagnosing me, this was the days I used to drink. No doubt is hydration. Urine is yellow. It's not clear. I'm not drinking enough water. TMI?
Yes.
And
that does sound like dehydration. If it gets to amber, then you're really getting dehydrated. I promise you. I've seen some dehydrated urine.
I used to go camping in a
This
tent.
is red wine.
And I had a little small
Red.
dome tent. It had that
Dehydrated.
door you zip open like this. And I'd wake up in the morning and sleep.
Look, until your pee looks like iced tea, you're not dehydrated. I've had patients with iced tea colored pee. That is some dehydration like you don't know.
Bag or whatever I was laying on.
And
I would stretch, because that's something I do, I guess, every morning. And my calves would cramp up and I had nowhere to go. I was in this little dome tent. I'm trying to get the zipper. Meanwhile, I'm up on my knees and my legs are bent back now and I'm cramping. And I mean, I'm ready to take a pocket knife and just cut my way out of this thing. I would if I'd had a razor. And then I would jump up out of the ground. You know, you got to get up. You got to stand up. And that happened.
I know the ironic nature of Tim is just great. Tim, I get leg cramps. I get dehydrated, drinking caffeine and a stimulant. It's just like a diuretic all at the same time. And then wondering why he's getting cramps at night. He's finally added water. All right, Tim, hurry up a little bit because my dogs have just woken up from their nap.
Multiple times.
They want to go out.
In my camping days. I suppose I need to drink a lot more water. I've got to just like I'm doing with the diet, and fasting and all that. I have got to make sure I carry water and literally just keep swigging it. You know what the nurse told me the other day that took the blood? You drink half the ounces is what you weigh. So if I'm 200, I need to drink 100 ounces of water, which is like almost a gallon of water. It's like 7.
Great. Next thing we know is Tim's gonna like give himself too much water because Tim doesn't know how to balance anything. Now he's gonna probably like just like now he's gonna have pee the color of water.
7 point something. And his finger's screwed. Never gonna be.
Well, of course not, Tim, because you can't wear your splint for more than 3 seconds. You can't do anything for your health for more than 3 seconds. Surprised your eye drops are still going in.
Got jackhammer finger. What do they call it? Mallet finger. I quit wearing the thing and it didn't do anything. You know, I didn't.
Well, of course not, because how could it do anything if you've only worn it twice over 2 minutes? Well, what do you expect?
Wear it long though. You got one right here.
I got waking up puppies now.
Big one
My puppies are awake from their food
the little one
and
I had
walk.
somewhere. This one came in the pack. Yeah, this I gotta drink some water. Maybe when I go to Walmart or BJ's today, they'll have one of those.
This is the person that everyone's going to take their health advice. A 66-year-old who finally worked it out. He needs to drink water. Are you serious? My dogs know better than you, Tim.
Things you can carry around. And that's the next thing is, are you going to carry that around?
You guys are cute. They're waking up.
But you see people at the gym, they walk around with a gallon of water.
Yeah.
And I guess they just make it a point to drink it. Yeah. This is the whole thing. And the other one only comes to like right here. I like it better. This one, you're completely inoperative. This finger is out of the loop. You're not running your finger in your pocket or anything with this thing. It's just like, you know.
Just complaints. I can't jam my fingers in my pocket. Really? Do you want your eye better? Do you want to figure out your leg cramps? Do you really want your finger back? I mean, he does, but he wants it. He's just a narcissist. He's no patient.
And it's sore. Those tendons and whatever. Even when I go to wash my hands, if I rub this hand back and I'm pushing this finger down, you know, bending it back, very, very sore. I mean, I really screwed myself up just because I wanted to. Look, I can't even grab the coffee cup. Just because I wanted to play a little round ball.
Yeah, nobody believes that, Tim.
I wasn't even playing a game, just shooting some hoops. Just play it. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, the late, as TRD called it, late show was on last night. You have no idea what I ranted about that I took out of that video. That's why it took so long to get it up. I looked at it again. Like,
well, see, Tim, that's disappointing. Because the only things that are worth hearing are your rants. And it was. You started to go on a trajectory. I think it was hater channels again. Or people not, your audience not giving enough like, comment, subscribe. Something, your views not up. People not believing you in your diet. You getting upset that people are, giving you too much pushback about whatever. You ran it off about something. I wish I could have heard it. But we kind of probably know what it is. Because we know his views are falling and he's making less money. He can't really travel. Last summer, he bought that big old F-250 and he bought the CC rider. And since I think he really thought that he and Tammy were going into a house. I really do. I think he just thought he was everything and a bag of chips at that point because they were out talking to that realtor couple. And I bet you anything, he was trying to get Tammy to come back and buy something that they could live in because he was talking real estate constantly. This house, that house, this house, and the other. And I guess Tammy pulled the plug on that and decided she didn't want the responsibility of home ownership or something, I guess, and rather have, rental properties or go with her family or whatever works for Tammy. She got plenty of money, Tim. What Tammy's got plenty of money. What you have are plenty of liability.
No, don't put that out there. Don't say that. No. I don't know. I was, like I said, I was wired, right? And I did go to bed. It wasn't until 1, and I got up at
wired because you're kind of hyper ADHD, kind of in my just opinion anyway. And then you're drinking all this coffee, just obsessive. I mean, you were coming out and showing that you're drinking coffees at 9:30 at night, and you get highly stimulated. How do you anticipate to get good sleep with taking so much? And then you have a good potential of waking up in the middle of the night with your sleep too, because you drink a diuretic.
At 5 to pee. Definitely wanted to lay back down. Definitely wasn't ready to get up. And that's when I go.
See, I just said it. And I forgot I even said this, Paul. Why do I know this? Probably because I've been in the industry for years. One thing that we watch as nurses, poop and pee on patients, because it tells us a lot. As disgusting as it is, one thing that we know to focus on, and is a sign of bodily health, is the poop and the poops and the pee-pees. I watch my dogs all the time. And it's just part of the work. It's a good indication of, kind of what's going on inside the body often. And like I said, if you're drinking coffee late at night, it's going to disrupt your sleep and have you wake up in the middle of the night to go urinate. It's a diuretic. And now you've interrupted your sleep. And then you're wondering why you're getting late. You need to cut the caffeine. You need to say by noon or whatever, you need to cut the caffeine. And then you actually need to say to yourself, no more fluid after this hour. You literally have to do that, especially if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night. Because obviously, you're going to have to get it out of your body.
I'm awake, but I'm laying here. My eyes are closed. But yet an hour can go by. So it's a dreaming, cognizant self-awareness of what I'm doing. But I'll lay there until I got to pee again.
I don't think any woman can.
Get up, and I'm thinking about
I think Tammy is his last-ditch hope. I think he's trying to look good for other women, but the minute you see that he's living in a trailer with a truck and a car, you already know he's stupid with money. You already know he is stupid with money. And then the second he wants to split a meal, I know people do that. Anybody wants to split a meal with me, I'm going to smack your hand away from my plate. Don't you touch my food.
Coffee. I'm thinking about making a morning chat video. I'm thinking about getting the laundry done. And oh man, you should.
Great. This is the reason why Tim never gets his laundry done. I'll tell you why. I have a theory for this. Is because Tim does not can't make content. Nobody wants to watch this man washing his smalls. And because he can't video it, because it's not content, it's not going to get done. So his laundry just sitting there. He probably thought he could dump that shit on Rafaela the other day. No, you cannot. Stop dumping your laundry on people's wives.
Blue and gorgeous and forecasted high is the same as yesterday, a mile from the sun. Also, they are forecasting greater chance of rain, like almost 70% all week next week. Well, you know what that means. Don't let it worry you. That means
I'm sure Florida doesn't like grown adults or anybody riding e-scooters on public pavements either that are for pedestrians. But this old dude's going to get out there because he thinks he runs the world out there. He really thinks he's special. He's special, all right, but just not the way he thinking.
it could rain. I could see it raining and sun shining here, or vice versa. So it's just a typical South Florida subtropical.
Yeah, he did that
weather.
too. He does both. His e-bike, he needs to have that license, and he needs to actually be wearing a helmet and doing all the other stuff. He shouldn't be riding those on beaches and Anne Marie Beach. So he's already broken that law. But with the scooter, I doubt he's supposed to have an electric scooter on a paved area with walking pedestrians going, out the way, everybody. Like, what the Jesus? Who are you? Jesus saw that. And he thinks you are being really unfair to people.
The scooter never reached green. That trickle charger, literally, I have to plan on this now. If I'm going to charge that thing and if I'm going to use it.
Catherine, actually, this is Betty Bye times in New Zealand. So she's sleeping. Catherine's sleeping.
I need to make it like.
So she's not here.
I don't leave it overnight. I don't leave anything like out, Not that I'm really worried about theft here. I really am not. I'm worried about,
Right.
rain. I don't want to get rained on. And that electric.
Yeah, beach cruiser is basically a pedal bike. And even then, you're probably going to be on the road because you're not going to want to be riding your bike around people because you just, even on the boardwalk here in Virginia Beach, they have very clear pedestrian walking places on the boardwalk and where the bikes should be. And those scooters and stuff, they don't want to see any of those stupid things around. They've been taken away from the beach.
Box and plugged into my camper and all that. So I'm not going to leave the awning out to protect it because I don't want wind or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a long time. That little charger they give you is really a slow charger, but that thing will run a long time. You get a lot of miles out of it. It's way, way, way slower.
Okay, Tim.
Than the e-bike. But like going down the sidewalk, you can just creep on it. Walk.
We're going to speed Tim
and
along because he just told.
List. Here's what I did. This is what you can do. Now listen to me. If you listen to a song on YouTube and you really like that a song, it's going to suggest when you hit mix.
Tim goes on for if you've watched this video, probably 6 or 7 minutes about doing a music list on YouTube. Okay, we're going to skip over this because he then goes on to something else at the end. We'll keep going, Tim.
And if you like listening to music, you got a earbuds or headphones.
Yeah, no.
After like 20 or 30 of the ones that were very good, they started going into something else. And so
look at this.
I trailed off and finally shut everything down. Said, Tim, took a half a sleeping aid. And before I did all that, I was sitting here like this, nodding out like I do every night.
For a guy who's always talking about his healthy sleep, his healthy lifestyle, none of the patterns of behavior that he is demonstrating to show to me as somebody who's a healthcare professional that he has any healthy patterns. This is very much the sort of living on your own lifestyle. And I think that when you are somebody who lives on your own, you do have to be very cognizant to make sure that you are going to bed, taking yourself to bed, not falling asleep on the couch, keeping good habits, not drinking coffee late at night, because you are your own master of whatever you want to do. And so I think you can get into really bad patterns. And Tim is falling into some really bad patterns at night. And he doesn't have enough keeping him. I don't think his channel, he doesn't care enough about his content, really. He just wants to be able to do something real easy like he did with that Social Security video. Go out there, take, 10 minutes, maybe researching some numbers, write it on a piece of paper and go out there and spit some facts out that he thinks are facts and get 3 million views for it. And I think it's going to be so hard for him to ever understand how he can never get that again. And that yet he can look at other people's channels who are talking heads or whatever, and they can consistently get views like that because these people are toning out that they're a neurologist or neuroscientist or some BS-ery. Okay, Tim? And unfortunately, their expertise does make them people that people want to listen to. And your lack of expertise just makes you an anecdotal storytelling vlogger. And your vlogs are not even very good.
And then something will come about and I'll get a second wind or start looking at the phone. And it was like I was never tired. I'd go another 3 hours. Because listen how hopped up I am.
Well, you go.
I got the energy, folks. I mean, no sugar for me, baby. This plan I'm on, meat, baby, meat. And I had those peas over at Rafaela. She was so sweet to make them. And then, of course, someone had to tell me in comments that they were poisoned, full of sugar and all.
I promise you, if somebody wanted to come into my comment section and try to tell me that peas are bad for me or something, you know what? I would assume that the pea is the size of that person's brain. Yes, there are vegetables that cause people inflammation. I've never had these issues, so I've been very fortunate, I guess. Maybe I just have very good, healthy gut biome. I don't know. Maybe because I've just ate vegetables my whole life. Maybe I control my portions of my vegetables. I've never suffered from, and you've said over time, Tim, that you've had gastric issues, and yet you have no understanding of what would actually be a good diet for your issues. You've never sat down and actually spoken to a nutritionist, and you probably couldn't, because the conversation would start, oh, yeah. And Tim would tell them everything that he's done to be healthy with no understanding. And this is why. This is a guy who said he's been on carnivore for all these. Can you believe anything that he said? He's been having cheese and stuff always throughout. What does it matter? All I know is that whatever he is doing, it's not healthy. And it's really bad advice. And it's certainly how I would not try to, unless, you obviously as a healthcare professional, you would look at a larger picture, and then we would see if patients are taking medications or anything that would restrict them from having certain types of foods. There are certain types of red wines, red meats, hard cheeses that should not be ate with certain types of medications, with certain types of medical disorders. But it's the stuff that you're eating, Tim, is the stuff that we generally tell our patients to avoid. And you've got all this thing about the fats in the brain and leading to the not having dementia and so forth. And yet you've really have very little understanding about the fats, and you just assume that saturated fat that would literally clog the arteries of your brain is the better choice.
All I can eat is sauerkraut. If I want to have a piece of lettuce with some egg on it or a squash.
He wasn't married to a spouse for greater than 10 years, but there is potential that he was still married to a spouse who died. And therefore, he got death benefits for Social Security, not through like married spouse, but more like death benefits spouse. Because I think potentially the last wife is deceased and they never divorced.
Wash or something in the future. Believe me, my intake of plant-based products has always been very limited.
I understand Tim has 3 X's.
Because I just don't crave that as I do other things.
Thank you.
But, like mashed potatoes, potatoes of some kind.
Yes. We are almost about to finish out with Tim. Tim, you understand a potato is a vegetable, don't you? You understand that potatoes actually can be very healthy. They have a lot of potassium, especially the skin. You understand that what makes a potato unhealthy is when it's loaded with bacon bits, butter, sour cream, cheese. That's the stuff that makes the potato unhealthy. Is it a starch and a carb? Absolutely. But it is a food that therefore it's going to be processed a little bit differently than, say, a carb from a honey bun. Because you're actually going to be getting some nutrients in there that actually do you good. So there's actually nothing wrong with a potato. It's how the potato is prepared that makes the potato wrong. Having a little bit of potato, there's nothing wrong with that. Keep the skin on. It's got lots of benefits. It's when you put a bunch of, sour cream and you flavor it, supposedly. That's when the potato gets ruined. or you deep fry it in fats and then eat it with sugary ketchup. But you get some potato and you air fry it, and you have a little bit of potato and you add a little, garlic on it or something, probably not going to be bad.
But those things are gone too. But yeah, I've got a lot of energy. I've got plenty. And we should do the measure.
Well, don't worry. He thinks, he doesn't even understand what insulin is. And, he's talking about insulin spikes and stuff. He got no clue. He got no idea what insulin does. Absolutely none. I promise you, I've worked with more diabetic type 2 patients than you could shake a stick at, Tim. For someone who does not have diabetes herself, I understand a lot about the metabolic and vascular disorder that diabetes is. I promise you.
We should see what the old waist is. I'll stand up. You can see. Probably got my.
Good, because then I can see what if I get your height to your waist ratio, Tim, I can actually figure out what your risk of cardiovascular disease is better. So thank you, I appreciate that. Let's see if you actually can measure yourself properly, because I'm sure you're gonna put that tape measure under that big old belly of yours.
Belly here. Yeah, there you go. This is the fattest part right here, right?
Yeah, that's what you get.
I don't mind showing you anymore because it's going down, baby. Let's get down to the other end of the tape.
I know, hey, Brianna, you're very cautious.
Remember, I was a 42. Go around the fattest part, Baker. Try not to blow your stomach out.
Oh, no, he's not even at the right part. Look where he's
now,
at.
How does that work?
No, you need to be like 2 inches down.
41 and a half. Like
that's a lie, because he was like 2 inches too high on his thing. You're supposed to actually, Tim, you're supposed to be under your belly button by about a couple of centimeters. Is actually where you're supposed to get that waist measurement. You're supposed to be like a little bit around where your belly button is. And we saw that you didn't go anywhere near your belly button, sir. So you don't even know how to measure your waist correctly. Why am I surprised? Absolutely not. You hold it at your belly button, Tim, or just below it.
Yesterday. But my weight's going down. Now go figure. When's the damn stomach going to go down? It has gone down. Believe me, I can tell.
Oh.
But it isn't flat yet.
Well, the scariest part is, and thank you for saying that sweet comment, is that I adopted Junebug from the same shelter almost 4 years ago. And I almost want to say I think I saw Roscoe's photo during that time. And if that's the case, then Roscoe potentially has been at that shelter for 4 years. And I feel like Junebug knew him, like was seeing an old friend. And Junebug had been about 4 months at the shelter. Junebug had been there a while too. And so it's, they said he'd been up there a few months. He's been there for a lot longer. He was really, yeah. So he really is. Junebug was a rescue, but this dog genuinely is really a rescue. He's going to take a lot of love and care, and he's a sweet boy. Junebug's snoring away, and he's just hanging out on the floor. He needs to get out in peace. We're about to finish this up, guys.
I mean, what I got to do? Planks, sit-ups. The worst exercises in the world are abs. Oh, my gosh, how boring. Really are. I saw a gal and a guy at the gym doing these abs, one on an incline.
And he's assuming that the way to get his abdominal muscles showing is by exercise. And anybody who understands their bodies and how you really get definition, it's about diet. Now, the exercise is going to show the definition of those muscles, but they're not going to pop through a bad diet. So, Tim, you can sit there and crunch all day, but I mean, a lot of what's going on, you may have a very tough time losing, because this has been fat that has been gained by you, sir, throughout your lifetime. And it's going to be a difficult one to lose, but it's going to have to be slow and consistent and with portion control and eating a good, healthy, consistent diet. Exercise, yes, but all these exercise, these crunches and stuff, for somebody like you, Tim, the only likelihood of what is probably going to happen is you're probably going to slip a disc, because you're probably not going to have good form. And you're probably not going to be able to have good form because you've got too much of this going up in the front. So it's not something you need to figure out a good diet, and you need to eat some actual fruit and some vegetable, and, it's about diet. You're not going to crunch your way out of it. There's no targeted anything that's going to do that. Okay. It is what you eat.
Bench, pushing her legs straight up. Another guy was passing the ball to his legs, back to his hands. And you could just feel the crunch. You could just feel the abs going down, watching them.
Right. If you've got like your food, but your diet is over the top of it, you're not going to see it. That's what people don't understand. You've got to, it's a very specific diet, unless you've been like just an athlete, and you because they've had the diet and the exercise and the burning, and it's been long-term, and the youth side. As we get older, though, promise you, we store fat in different places, and you've stored it all at the front, sir. And your diet is the only thing that's going to address it. And it's not the diet that you're eating. You need to get on probably a plant-based diet with calorie control and portion control. And it's nothing that you're doing. You look very unhealthy, to be honest.
But would I do them? No.
Good.
Let's have some coffee. And let's end this video. What is it?
More coffee.
29 minutes? That's enough. That's enough. So I'm going to finish up this coffee with a little more cream. We're going to get out there. We're going to have another wonderful day.
Too much, and he's still going to talk another minute, guys. Tim doesn't know how to wrap it up.
Remember to be kind and rewind. Rewind that temper. Rewind that anger. Rewind those words. Talk to the Lord this morning before you leave the door. Hit those knees or take you a little prayer walk.
What is up with the preaching at the end of every one of his videos? Kenneth Copeland, the way out of here, please.
Thank God for the day. Thank God you're above ground. Ask God to make you a better person than you were yesterday.
Well, you haven't been asking enough. I can promise you your prayers are not being heard. Something going on there, Tim. Because you're doing all this hardcore praying that you say you are, sir. How are you still the same individual that you are?
Ask him to come into your life. Ask him to help you with all the things that you want and need. Ask him to take away all your concerns, all your worries about what people say or do, or what you're doing and saying.
Really, Tim? Now the religious shaming of people? You are really on the roll.
Start a clean slate today. You can do it. It's free and it's available. All you have to do is Christ.
No, okay. The idea of eating meat is so twisted. You balance, definitely fresh fruit and veg. Yeah, it's pretty twisted. And I can't wait to see how many more patients are going to have an increased risk of cardiovascular disease and colon cancer thanks to shenanigans on this one. Every time I hear somebody demonizing carbohydrates, and all they're thinking about are donuts and honey buns and not really understanding anything, your bad dietary choices are not the bad dietary choices of these vegetables and fruit. The fact that I cannot with these people. It's so bad. Tim is doing his best. Joel Osteen. Oh my God. I know. He thinks he is a prosperity preacher out here. He thinks he's going to guilt me with the Lord. Please. Let's face it. Any advice he gives on anything is wrong. Absolutely. And it's not about that. I'm somebody who went to the church, but I don't like religious manipulation, because I know what Jesus doesn't like is charlatans. And he certainly would not be trying to promote you, Tim. He definitely. Buffalo is way better than hamburger meat and stuff. I've never had buffalo, but then again, I've never ate meat. So, like I said, but if somebody is eating a good lean protein, I am not going to stop you from that. But I know that should not be most of your plate. That is not most of your plate. You still get protein from vegetables. It's a different type of protein, but you are still getting proteins from vegetable. Pea is a great source of protein. Rice and beans are a complete protein. A lot of people are doing rice and beans at the moment. One, it's very economical, and two, it is a complete protein. rice, but you do just bad diets and this sort of stuff is going to be the stuff that gets you far more in trouble with your eating and get you down the road to disaster than anything else. And I could not and obviously you're just going to see so much of it. People just want that quick solution, and they want it to be like dressed up in a package that, that they can cling to one thing. And it just never works. I promise you. You need to eat the rainbow, as we say. You need to know what a portion control is. You need to know that, yes, if it's in a packet and it has ingredients that your great-grandmother wouldn't understand, it's not a good choice. It's not a good choice. But what I would recommend as a medical professional is you do not follow half of these food influencers unless they have the name registered dietitian. And I know people want to say, oh, these people have no idea. No, they have a better idea than you have. And listening to a chiropractor quack like Dr. Kim Berry, who basically had an aesthetic salon, and, just any time, it's a racket. These people are making money, and they're just really good at selling stuff to you. That's it. They're just really good. And Tim is forever the salesman. That's all he is forever the salesman. And he doesn't seem to understand the implications of anything that he says or does. He doesn't think when he's going out and talking about things around eating that people could have disordered eating and how he could trigger people. He has no idea or clue. Anyway, I've had you guys for almost 2.5 hours here. Yeah, he probably wouldn't. I wouldn't think he would approve of that either. She's absolutely nice. Liver King. Oh God, the Liver King. What a just... I'm sorry, you really have to question yourself as an individual when you identify with people such as that coming out. If you cannot tell that man has juiced his eyeballs up to become like that and has had his abdominal muscles etched and is just talking ancestral diet, what the heck? Most of the times when they're checking the colons of our ancestors, they've got nuts and seeds and plants in them, okay? Our ancestors were not sitting around tearing livers out of live animals. What a bunch of caveman nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense. I promise you, our ancestors would never have survived if they had not ate plants and nuts and seeds. It was probably the majority of their diet because there was a lot of energy expelled in the chance that you could actually get that animal. So that was generally not the case. Just exhausting. It's exhausting. It's exhausting when you hear this stuff going out. Your teeth aren't even designed for it. If you look up a carnivore diet, it's going to show my 2 puppies over here. Look at their teeth. Look at the shape of their jaws. Do we look anything like that? No, we don't. We look nothing like it. Absolutely not. Ancestral diet. I mean, it's got to be some of the funniest, wildest stuff I've ever heard. It really is. And Tim, thinking he's an health expert, I just can't wait for the next iteration of his health journey. Anyway, thank you, Chuck. I am going to get my kids out. Oh, I would never eat liver. That's the nasty meat. Oh, well, I don't eat meat anyway. Yes, I guess it would be great for any type of food they found. Yeah. They were just, pulling, red meat off of a cow that had been fattened in a place where it was accessing all this pastoral grass. 4 teeth. Is good. Oh gosh. Oh, I have no idea. I don't know about that. I know my grandma used to eat that stuff. I personally, I wouldn't touch an organ meat. Just personally, just because it is. Anyway. I certainly wouldn't be buying supplements from a charlatan like the Liver King. And he sells millions of dollars of supplements. Absolutely one of the biggest cons is these supplements half the time, guys. If you're not getting it from your food, then, and all this nonsense where you're getting the food the animal ate. No, the animal ate that food. Oh my gosh, you were just requested, but we're now finishing up. So you're going to have to watch us on the replay. And I know it's Sunday over there. It's insane. All right, guys, I'm going to finish it here. I make sure you hit the likes on the way out. I'm sorry I started crying at the beginning. Obviously, thinking of Roscoe gets me real emotional. But I do appreciate all of you who have watched and comment, liked, and shared today and do any of that on my videos, because my mission, obviously, is, rescuing dogs. And so that's kind of where my extra money goes. My days are going out and trying to worry about, 15 shirts and 3 pairs of shorts and 14 pairs of shoes. I don't care about that stuff, man. I spent my money buying fancy, like, grain-free doggy treats yesterday and food. And they had $1 for the adoption yesterday. So, and because I didn't have the cash, I paid $2. So I got the dog for $2 up at the pound. And then obviously, and he's been here. He's not had one accident, not one accident in this home. What a good dog. Left in that pound probably for years, man. So if you do want to help with Roscoe, like, commenting, and subscribing, watching my videos, obviously anything that goes to buy me a coffee is going to go to his medical care. I do appreciate it. I wouldn't usually ask. I know Tim begs for money all the time. I think it's about the only time, obviously, I can make money, obviously, because I have a side hustle, YouTube, and I have a prison job. And I'm heading back to grad school in about less than 20 days. So I'm back to classes. So, you know what, Tim? Some of us actually do have lives out here. I'm going to let everyone get to theirs. Catch us on the replay. And I'll catch you on the next one. We're doing Foodie next. Foodie's foot.